You can't be pro-parent if you're anti-child. These policies are anti-child. I don't care what you call it.
Hey everybody, Alex Cohen here. Welcome to the Inside the Issues podcast. And no, that wasn't Sara Sadhwani in disguise. That was California's Attorney General Rob Bonta. Sara is getting an early start on her much-deserved sabbatical, so we're taking some time at the end of the year to bring you conversations with politicians that really think will be ones to watch in 2024, including California's very own Rob Bonta, who was tapped to be the state attorney general when Xavier Becera wound up taking on his new role in the Biden administration. Rob Bonta dropped by. We talked about all sorts of things, both locally and statewide. Check it out. Attorney General, thank you so much for being with us today. I want to begin by asking you about what you have done on behalf of the state against 5 of the world's largest oil companies. This lawsuit is very reminiscent to me of action that was taken decades ago against tobacco companies. This concern that you all knew something and you didn't tell us about it. What specifically are you alleging, and what do you believe that these companies should do in order to make amends?
Well, we brought a lawsuit on behalf of the state of California against 5 of the largest fossil fuel companies in the world and the American Petroleum Institute. So it was ConocoPhillips and BP, Shell, Chevron, ExxonMobil, for climate change deception, for knowing in the 60s, 70s, over 50, 60 years ago about climate change, global warming, extreme weather, predicting with terrifying accuracy exactly where we would be today and lying about it, realizing that it was a problem to their bottom line, that it would reduce profits, and so investing millions of dollars to lie about it, to write advertorials and create front groups with good climate sounding names, environmentally friendly names, and commissioning studies to undermine and dilute the science. And it is eerily similar to what tobacco did. Tobacco knew they had a problem when they realized that their product was addictive and cancer-causing, and so they set about to undermine that science, to lie about it. So it's the same playbook by these large companies who are hurting Californians, hurting Americans, hurting the future of our planet. And so we are asking essentially 2 things. 1, stop lying. Stop greenwashing, stop lying about the climate science, stop pretending that you're part of the solution when you are generating and creating the problem. Stop pretending that natural gas, a fossil fuel gas, is part of a clean energy future. And 2, pay for the damage that you've caused. Right now, they're forcing Californians to pay for it, who are suffering from drought and flood, from storms and from wildfire, from very extreme heat and extreme cold. And so they are socializing the cost, making others pay while they rake in the profits. So we're saying put money into an abatement fund. That is what is created as a remedy for a public nuisance claim and cause of action, which we have in our case. And that money is used to pay for adaptation to climate change, mitigation of climate change. So billions of dollars.
And you were talking about this at COP28, the big environmental summit that was happening in Dubai. And before we officially got started here, you were saying you felt pretty optimistic there. And I think at a time where a lot of people see what's happening on this planet and they get worried, they feel like nothing can be done. Can you share with me a little bit about how you feel the law can and should be a strategy on this front, and how others are looking at the work that we're doing here in California?
Yeah, it was my first COP, so the conference of the parties, the UN nations who come together every year to talk about how we're going to address climate change. And for me, it was super inspiring. Maybe it's because I'm wired that way, to be optimistic and hopeful, but to see activists and leaders from across the globe coming across culture and language and oceans and boundaries to discuss our common future and how we're going to address climate change, often with translation headphones to be able to communicate with one another. It was powerful to me. And the reception of California was very enthusiastic, a lot of support for what we've done, who we are, our identity, our legacy, our contributions to address climate change, a belief that if more states and nations did what California has done, we would all be better off. And a tremendously warm reception to our litigation. It's not a sideways on or adjacent attempt to address climate change. It's not carbon sequestration or creating clean energy to compete with fossil fuel. It is going directly after the fossil fuel companies for their actions, holding them accountable for climate change deception, for lying, for knowing about climate change and deceiving the world and Californians. So that was very well received. And litigation is a strategy. It's an important one for many of the biggest changes in industry that we've seen, from tobacco to the opioid industry. Lead paint is another example. We're in the process now with our social media companies. You see litigation as a key component of the strategy. In a separate lane, independently, policymaking is important. Advocacy and activism is important. It is all part of the ongoing effort, but we're proud to be in the litigation lane and to be taking a very important role in probably the most important case ever brought against fossil fuel companies. It's being brought by the biggest economic and geographic entity ever, and that entity is the state of California, the soon-to-be fourth largest economy in the world.
And an economy that, depending on how things go in the election next year, you could potentially have a commander-in-chief who's taking a very different view at what we're doing here in California. Former President Donald Trump has really disparaged our strategy towards moving away from fossil fuels here in this state. He's said publicly that on his first day, drill, baby, drill. Have you thought about what your, as you put it, litigation lane looks like if, in fact, we have another Trump presidency?
Well, clearly, Mr. Trump is on the wrong side of history, the wrong side of science and facts, and in my view, humanity with that position. This science is undeniable. And maybe it's inconvenient to some, but it is the facts. You don't even have to believe the scientific reports. Just believe your own eyes, your own experiences, your own lived experiences. We're seeing extreme weather regularly. And so whoever's in the White House, California will be California. We will lead with science and facts, with values, with aggression to protect the people of the state and to protect our planet for the next generation. And we saw what AGs did throughout the United States when Trump served as president for 4 years. We rose up and pushed back against his unconstitutional acts, his illegal acts. We held him accountable and checked him regularly. California brought over 100 lawsuits against Mr. Trump, successful in the supermajority of them, as he overreached and broke the law and needed to be held accountable in court. So hopefully we won't have to do that again, but should we need to, we are more than prepared to.
Attorney General Bonta, I want to talk to you about what you've been doing on the housing front. Of course, creating more housing is a huge priority for the state, but a lot of different people, a lot of different entities have different perspectives on how that should be done. And you have been working with Governor Gavin Newsom about bringing more affordable housing to the state. The city of Huntington Beach has bristled at the notion that the state should be the ones who legally or appropriately tell them what to do. They say, hey, we're our own city. We should be able to make our own determinations here. Can you make the case why you feel like the law is on your side and why the state, more so than the city, should be calling the shots in terms of how much and where affordable housing should be built?
You need to follow the law. It's really that simple. There are state laws in place. There are criminal laws. There are civil rights laws. There are housing laws. And everyone, including Huntington Beach, needs to follow them. By blatantly and brazenly, knowingly and intentionally violating state law, they are not being law-abiding, and they need to be held accountable for their decisions to break the law. Local jurisdictions have had an opportunity for years to build, be part of the solution. Many have, but many haven't. Many adopted a not in my backyard or NIMBY approach to not contribute to a shared problem that we have. And in response, state legislators and lawmakers passed new laws that provide for the opportunity for housing to be built by right, expedited, under certain circumstances with certain specifications. And Huntington Beach is breaking those laws. And so it's very clear. They know they're breaking them. They just want to delay and they want to fight and they want to make a political point that is not based in any sound legal position about Sacramento. what they should be doing is be focused on how to contribute to the solution by building some housing, following the law, getting a compliant housing element in place, which they don't have and which has triggered the builder's remedy. And so we are continuing to sue them in court, beat them in court. We are winning in court. Their federal case has been dismissed with prejudice. And so exactly how we predicted it. They should spend more time coming into compliance than wasting taxpayer dollars fighting against something where they have a losing position and where they are clearly not following the law.
Another Southern California community that your office has been locking legal horns with is Chino Valley, and you have sued them saying that they should not be enforcing rules there that would force campuses to disclose to parents if their kids are using a different name at school, perhaps using a different bathroom than that which corresponds with the gender that is assigned to them on their birth certificate. Why is this so important to you?
Whether it's Huntington Beach or Chino Valley, we enforce the law. The civil rights of children are being violated. The Chino Valley School Board, by their actions, has managed to violate 2 provisions of the state constitution, our Equal Protection Clause, our privacy protections, as well as different sections of the Education and Government Code. We told them they would be breaking the law if they took this action. They took it anyway. Again, it's like Huntington Beach. They are knowingly, brazenly violating the law. And so we're taking them to court, and we are beating them in court. We had a TRO issued, an injunction issued. We don't like it when adults knowingly hurt children. They are going out of their way to target and hurt some of the most vulnerable children in our communities, those who are face violence. At times, the data shows from direct family members who are kicked out of their home and rendered homeless. And so they have a designed, deliberate effort to hurt children. And I won't stand by if children are hurt, their rights are violated. I will enforce the law as we are here.
There is absolutely research and data supporting that. That said, that number of potentially vulnerable children may be quite minimal compared to you've seen these school board meetings where hundreds, thousands of angry parents come out. Are you concerned at all? Because the parental rights, and as a dad, this is shaping up to be one of the most controversial issues in our state right now. Do you have any concerns that you might be angering a section of the electorate that you might need in the future?
I think about what is right and how to enforce the existing law, including civil rights laws for children. That's it. You can't be pro-parent if you're anti-child. These policies are anti-child. I don't care what you call it, what your spin or your script or whatever it is, your narrative about what you're doing. You are hurting children. You are violating their rights. It's wrong. The courts have said it's wrong, and you can't do it. So however you want to justify it, you can call it parents' rights, you can call it anything you want. It is a violation of the children's civil rights. I will always protect the most vulnerable in our community, our children, our seniors, our sick, our poor. That is my job. And whatever polls or politics, political spin there is, that is not my concern. My concern is protecting the rights of the most vulnerable, including our children when they're targeted and attacked.
I know you're a busy man, so I'm going to let you go, but I do want to give you a chance with all of these legal victories on your side. Is Governor of California a job that you're thinking about at all for 2026, and how do you weigh that decision?
I'm completely focused right now on the job of Attorney General, and honor and privilege of a lifetime to be in this role. Every day is an opportunity to help more people, to solve more problems, to do more good, to lift up more people in California. That's what we're focused on. I have said publicly, and I'll say it again here, I am seriously considering running for governor. There'll be a time when I make that decision. That time is not now. Now is the time to do the important work of the AG. And so as the months proceed and I am closer to this decision, people will know about it. But right now, focused on the incredible work of being Attorney General and trying to make people's lives better in California every day.
Attorney General Rob Bonta, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And that is it for our conversation with California's Attorney General Rob Bonta. Next week, we'll be bringing you another conversation with another real up-and-comer in Golden State politics, Assemblymember Isaac Bryan. I do hope you'll join us for that. Until next time, stay safe and be well. The Inside the Issues podcast is a Spectrum News One production. Crystal Goss is our producer. Nathaniel Leathers is our editor. The executive in charge of production is Jeff Shore.